What's up everybody? I've got some pretty interesting news for you.
This is the boat I started sailing Doodles with. It's a 1984 C&C 37-foot monohull. I had such a great time on it, I decided to do it all again. I am buying another 37-foot monohull and sailing it in the Med. In this video, I'm going to talk about those boats and give you some updates on the boats we've sailed previously. And the latest news on the Island Spirit 525 Catamaran being built in Thailand. We have new pictures, new specs, so stick around and click that like button.
So yeah, a couple, some big exciting stuff coming up here. So going back to a monohull, I'll get into that in a little bit. And then if you, down below, there's the chapters if you want to skip ahead to find out wherever you want. I'm going to talk about my old boat, the C&C 37, this new monohull I'm getting, and then of course the Catamaran from a previous video. I'll tell you what's going on with that. You can skip ahead if you just want to go to the Catamaran, or you know what, it's just a few minutes long. Why don't you kind of go through this with me. So back when I started this channel, I can't believe it's been 6 years ago, it was pretty amazing. I had a 37-foot C&C sailboat, 1984. I didn't really know a whole lot of boats back then. I'd done some sailing, like basically I learned how to sail in the Boy Scouts, right? And I'd chartered a boat a couple times, but I didn't really know a whole lot about boats really yet, and I didn't really know what made for a good cruising boat and what I needed to go cruising. And when I came across the C&C 37, I thought it was perfect, everything I needed. After spending, you know, basically a year on that boat, I realized, okay, there are some things that it doesn't have. So the footage here is from my C&C, the 1984. I didn't really know what I needed back then, and so it's kind of cool to see all this again. You know what, we didn't even film this video tour until most of the way through the first season. You know, I just didn't know what made for good video and all that. But, you know, we added things that were good for the dogs, like the nets and stuff like that. But it was kind of a pain. We had to go to the mast to do most of the work. And if we wanted to reef or anything like that, so it was a little difficult there. And then the cockpit, you know, was fairly small. It was just pretty small. There weren't too many cushions, and, you know, it just wasn't a comfortable boat per se. The navigation stuff was basic. I basically only used my phone and iPads for navigation, and then we bought that cheap dinghy there. But, you know, and then inside the cabin, it was okay. This boat was more of a racer cruiser. You know, it wasn't meant for long-term cruising. This was, you know, take it out for a couple weeks, or you're going to do some racing or something like that. So we didn't really know, we didn't have enough batteries, we didn't have enough refrigerator space, we didn't have the proper cooking stuff really. I mean, well, we did, that was okay there, but we didn't have a water maker. So we were constantly, you know, needing water and all that stuff. So, and then the bathroom was small, the head was small, it only had that 1/4 berth and then the B berth up front. But you know what, it was good for what it was for that first year. We had a lot of fun on it, and you know, pretty cool stuff. This takes me back just looking at these videos, and it was all new to me too, right? So I was learning it as we went. Basically what's happened here now is that my new Catamaran is not ready until gonna be ready until October. And you know, this is what I do full time, is I create content on YouTube. So I need to be able to create content. Now I have been doing some charter boats and all that, and while that is great and I enjoy doing it, it's a little difficult to schedule, and I'm not able to get out as much content as I like. I prefer to post like 2 videos a week. That's how I really feel that Sailing Doodles has been successful when a lot of other channels maybe didn't grow as fast or whatever, is doing 2 videos a week. And because we're just doing charters, I've only been able to do 1 video a week, and I feel like that's kind of slowed us down, and I want to get back to that. And so but I also wanted to do something that made me reminisce of that first, you know, C&C 37. So I started you know, we went sailing on a really nice Beneteau 62 Oceanus with Navigar last spring in Greece, and just loved the place. We had a great time there, and I wanted to get back. We were only there sailing for 2 weeks, and it's just not long enough. And actually this exact boat is for sale. There's a link down in the show notes if you're interested. Just be sure to tell them that you saw it on Sailing Doodles, please. And I will also put a link down in the show notes to the boat tour, the full video that I made of this boat. So I started looking around I wanted a relatively inexpensive boat that I could buy and then that was pretty much ready to go, didn't need a whole lot of work, that I could buy, use for the 90 days that you're allowed to sail in Greece. You can get what's called a digital nomad visa, so I might look into that, but as an American, we're only allowed to stay 90 days in the Schengen area, which includes Greece, so we'll see what happens there. Of course, could take it over to Turkey after that 90 days. So I started looking around Greece, and I found this Jeanneau 2001 37 foot. I thought, well, that's great. This boat has a lot. I'll kind of go over the specs of the boat. First thing it has is this walk-through transom, which, you know, the rough seas did not have. We always had to board it from the side using a ladder, and it was really hard for the dogs. But this, having a walk-through transom, is really great, makes it nice. And then you see above that, it's got a solar arch on it and solar panels. So it's got, I believe, 340 watts, or no, 380 watts of solar, something like that. So that's a decent amount of solar for a boat that size. You're not gonna need a whole lot of battery power on it. And it does have the davits where you can hoist the dinghy on the back. It has a very small, I can forget the brand of dinghy, it's kind of an off brand I've never heard of before. 1.3 meters, so real, I think it's like, you know, no, it can't, it's gonna be 1.8 meter dinghy. It's really small, and a 3 horsepower, looks pretty ancient motor. So we'll see how the dinghy treats us there. We'll see how it works. But the good thing about the med is you med more a lot, so it should, you know, shouldn't be going long distances on there. It does have a good amount of chain on it, and it has a rock nut anchor that does pretty well. And it has a windlass in it. You know, the fin keel with the bulb at the bottom, it's got a 2-meter draft, so a little over 6 feet. And then that's, the draft in the med is really not that big a deal. It's pretty deep water most everywhere, and most places you even med more and all that are pretty deep as well. But it does have a decent amount of chain and everything. The sails, one of the things that the reason I picked this boat is that it does have the standing rigging, so that's all like the stainless steel rigging that holds the mast down and everything like that. That was replaced in 2020. And honestly, I mean, like, you know, so this is a 2001, so almost 20-year-old rigging, it was time for it to be replaced. And so that's one of the reasons I picked this boat, because it wouldn't have to do anything to that. It's very similar lines to the CNC as far as layout and all that. The sails are down below, you know, and they're the original sails, but they looked in a good condition, and I'm not going to replace them. I'm not going to be using the boat that long, you know, just 3 or 4 months. And then the plan is I'm going to sell it. My plan with this would be able to sell the boat like late July. So if you guys, if somebody's interested in it, then you can buy it from me and go sail the second half of the summer in Greece. You know what I mean? So I'll give you more information on that in just a little bit, though, about the buying process. I'm going to go through that with you as well. It does have, you know, a 40 horsepower, let's see here, I think it's a Yanmar. And then the interior space, you know, it's got a really nice deep refrigerator with another section that's a freezer. You can see the sails are wrapped up on the dinette there, and they look nice and white, and they looked in good condition. So we'll see how they actually are when I put them back on. But, you know, all the pots and pans are staying with it and everything, so I don't have to buy all that stuff. One thing it does have here, okay, it's a 2-cabin boat, so it's got the forward V-berth and then an aft cabin. The aft cabin is now just a single berth. It used to be a double berth, but now it's a single berth. The box on the, if you look at the screen, the right-hand side, is actually a generator box. So it's been soundproofed, fireproofed, all that, but there is a 4.5 kilowatt generator built into this boat, which is almost unheard of for a 37-foot CNC. And that's another reason I decided to do this, because I use a lot of power with cameras and editing and all that stuff. And just being able to have that back, yes, I have solar, but just being able to have that backup will be nice to have a generator. That's one of the reasons I picked this. And it's pretty well laid out. Like the people that have had it before, they've had it for a couple of years. They lived on it and cruised around the Med. They had to go back home to earn some money for a while. And then they're excited. Maybe they might buy it back at the end of the summer if they wanted to go cruise again, saved up enough money. One thing I really like on this boat, being a 2-cabin boat, is that the head is massive, and it has a separate, like, dry, so the shower and the toilet are separate from the sink, right? So you're not going to get the sink all wet. You can have stuff out there, and it's just a really big head, which is nice to have. A lot of these boats, especially if they were a 3-cabin or something like that, just had this little tiny bathroom in it, like, you know, the old CNC had. The only downside on the boat, really, in my opinion, is that the main cabin is a V-berth. So it kind of limits your sleeping area, right? So what you do is you put your feet in towards the front, and then you have your, the rest of you there. Obviously, the mattress is in a little bit rough shape, but that can be dealt with. Put a mattress pad topper on it, and it'll be good to go. And it does have nice little hanging lockers on each side. So I am going to be very transparent on this whole deal. So I found it online. I went and looked at it. Actually, I had about 4 or 5 boats I wanted to go look at. By the time I booked my airfare and went there, like all but 2 were gone. So I looked at this one in another boat, and this one I much preferred. It had more everything I needed. So then just the fact that all the boats were going pretty quickly, they were asking, it's actually in British pounds, but converted to US dollars, they were asking, I believe, 70,000 US dollars. I made them an offer for 65,000 and they accepted. So we have it. I put my deposit down, my 10% deposit, and I have scheduled the survey. Survey is like an inspection for a boat, and that survey should actually be happening today or tomorrow. An English guy that lives in Greece is doing the survey. That survey cost 700 euros, I think maybe 750 euros. So then I'll get that report back. Now the boat is on the hard. You can see from the pictures the boat is on the hard, meaning it's not in the water. So during the survey, there are certain things you can't do on the sea trial. So we didn't want to put the owners and myself through the expense of de-winterizing the boat, putting the boat in the water, hiring a captain to take it out and do all that stuff on the sea trial. And then of course you have to pull the boat back out of the water, re-winterize it, and put it back on the hard stand until I would go there until April, which is my plan, is to go there mid-April. So what we've done is, the survey is being done now. If there's any major things that he finds, we can renegotiate that, but we still need to do a sea trial. So then when the boat goes in the water, which would be around April 15th, we have it written into the contract. So they're withholding 10% of the funds that I end up purchasing the boat for and putting them in escrow for the sea trial. So during that sea trial, when we first put it in the water, we're gonna run the engines, check all that stuff out. If there is any major issues, the engine's not running well or something like that, then basically I get to keep that 10% payment, comes back to me, which, I don't know how much it would cost to fix whatever's wrong with it, but this is kind of, that way we're not delaying the whole transaction. It's just 10% being withheld. Hopefully nothing goes wrong. We'll see. If it does, you live and you learn, right? Next step is that the survey is being done today or tomorrow. I should have the report a few days after that. I can either accept it or deny it. Like if they come back and like, oh, there's so many blisters or whatever, but I didn't see any, I looked pretty good. Then, I can terminate and get my deposit back. Odds are everything will be great. So then we continue at the end of the month. I believe it's February 1st. We will close on the boat, and then the boat is mine. I take over the yard payments and all that. So I'm just going to go back around, a couple days before April 15th. We'll put it in the water. I do need to do a couple things to the boat. Here's some pictures of the boat. It does have a brand new bimini and Dodger, which is nice. The sails are original, but the standing rigging is new, has a generator, all of that. It does have a water maker, which is really nice. We can go through all the stuff on there. Oh, sorry, it's a 40 horsepower Volvo Penta. And then the Kohler 4.5 generator, and then has an Ecotech water maker, which is really nice. The only thing that I definitely need to address is it needs new batteries. The batteries are they are 5 years old now, so that needs to be replaced. There might be a couple other odds and ends. I'd like to get some cushions made for the cockpit. I think I'm going to have somebody do that like now. Like I'll once I accept the boat, then I'll find a local upholstery shop to come give me an estimate on making new cushions for the cockpit and everything. And then, so really, and maybe even if I can find a boat tech there that can give me a good price for replacing the battery, so I don't have to do anything before I get there. I can just put it in the water and go. That'd be nice. So one other thing I would like to do is put a spinnaker on it. So get a Jeanneau, a furl, asymmetric spinnaker to put in a sock. The bowsprit on it, I'm not sure will work. So I'm gonna there's a sailmaker and riggers there that I'm gonna go look at it, take a look at it, see if that bowsprit, I think it probably will be all right for putting a spinnaker on there. And then of course I need to get a spinnaker with a sock. I'm hoping I can find one secondhand for that size boat. They should be pretty cheap, maybe $1,000, $2,000, something like that. So this boat is really set up. The people have been cruising on it full time for the last 2 years. So it has everything like fenders and lines, and the life raft is there, all these things, you know, new Bimini, new Dodger, all that stuff. So the good thing is it's been used full time until they put it away at the end of the season this last year. So it's not like it's been sitting for years and years. It's a boat that's been used, which is what you want. So pretty excited about this. So my plan would be that you know, so if I go to the boat April 15th, that gives me 90 days, so July 15th, and actually there's a 3-week trip where we'll be outside of the Schengen area, so it'll probably be more like the end of July. That's when I have to basically get off the boat. So end of July, somebody's looking for this, I'm going to try to sell it for what I have into it, right? So, you know, the $65,000 purchase plus all the upgrades I do, like the batteries and the sails and the cushions and all that. So, you know, maybe it's around $70,000 what I sell it for, because I'll need that money back to put towards the Catamaran. And so that's a nice segue. Let's talk about that Catamaran. Okay, on to the Island Spirit 525. So this is the Catamaran buy. I'm pretty excited about it, so I'm gonna give you more information on it. If you'd like more information yourself or you're interested in buying one, there's a link below down to the sales website. Actually, Navigar is the one doing the sales on it. I would ask that if you do inquire about that or a charter or purchasing one, please make sure you tell it at Sailing Doodles sent you, because that really helps me out, because, you know, we're kind of, I mean, obviously I'm paying for the boat, but, you know, if somebody buys one that, you know, they give me a discount, right? So please, it would help me if you did. Beautiful looking boat. So I'll go over some of the differences. I'll show you a picture of the 4-cabin version. So this is what the 4-cabin version would be. You can see it's got forward cabins on each side, 2 bathrooms, 2 heads on each side with a shower and toilet in each one. And then you have storage up front, or you can do little captain's quarters or something like that. Mine is going to be a 3-cabin version, and I will show you the difference there. So, all right, so this is just the schematics. They don't have a mock-up of the whole thing. They do have a mock-up I'll show you in just a moment, but you can see how the port side hull aft has the big master cabin, has a settee, the big bathroom. So, you know, the bathroom stretches, you know, 6-7 feet long or more. So big bathroom with a full shower. You can fit 2 people in there easy, no problem. And then going forward, instead of another cabin, that is all storage and an office. So it's a big U-shaped desk that wraps all the way around with cabinets all over there. So I can set up my computer and editing station, because right now I edit from a laptop, and it'd be nice to have a full-size computer that is powerful and can cool and all that stuff. So I'm really excited about that, having a permanent editing station, plus make that a bit of a podcast studio, that kind of thing. So that is the difference there. And let me show you the renderings of those 2 spaces. So this is the aft cabin. You know, walk around, queen size bed, has, you know, a makeup station there, and lots of storage and stuff on the side. And then forward, there's a little settee and hanging lockers on each side. So there'll be a lot of locker space there, you know. So it's just a really nice cabin. Big, it's nice and spacious. And then for the forward office area, you know, just this nice big office that I can leave my stuff set up full time. I don't have to worry about taking it down for, like, because right now when we're in a boat, I just use I mean, it sucks. I have to use like our dining room table and everything for that. So now I don't have to do that. I have a dedicated space for it. So the plan right now, hopefully they say it's still on time. The boat will be ready at the end of the summer, and we're hoping to get it on a boat and being delivered to the East Coast to be in the Annapolis Boat Show, October of 2023. And we will be debuting it there, and you guys are all invited to come see it. So if you don't know about the specs of the boat, I will kind of go over that with you now. So for the rest of you, I mean, I'll show you the more renders in case you didn't catch the first video. So this is what the main salon will look like here. So it's got a center island, and then a settee up front on both sides, and kind of a L-shaped galley, and then across from that is kind of like a buffet area with all the storage and pantry and all that. So it should be really nice and comfortable through there. And then one of the cool things about it, it has a door that walks through to the foredeck. up to the trampolines, which, so you open that door, you open some windows, you get so much airflow going through there, and it's just so nice, because like that's always been a pain on cats. You know, the leopards have a door, but most of the other ones don't. I guess the bollies are doing it now, but just walking through the salon up front, it's great. Then the outside area, you know, you have a lot more seating on the outside. You have, you know, an L-shaped settee, another settee, and one at the back. So for entertaining and hanging out on the back, it's pretty great. So the exterior, you can see it's got that forward, you know, dining area on just short of the trampolines. Trampolines are a little bit smaller. But then what I really love about this boat is that it has that huge fly bridge. The helm station is off to the starboard side just a little bit, so you're not staring at the back of the mast. And then a nice big U-shaped seating area behind that. Lots of solar above on the hard deck on the bimini. And then it does have the day pads on the back, which I may or may not keep. I may do solar there. And we may end up doing in-mast furling. We'll kind of see how that goes. Now, the main difference on this boat is it's going to be a hybrid. So it is going to have 210 kilowatts of lithium batteries, right? That's like 3.5 Teslas. That's how much battery power that is. And it'll have two 65 kilowatt electric motors for your drive, which is about 90 horsepower equivalent. So about 180 horsepower for the two motors, and so it should be able to do 8 knots on the motor, no problem at all. Each of them have their control units. It has a power display or power distribution bus and all that. The house bank battery is separate. It's actually going to be 24 kilowatts of for the house bank. And then lots of solar. You know, it'll have between 2,800 to 4,800 watts, which is a lot. And then of course it will have a 55 kilowatt generator. That's a really big generator. That's like, I don't know, 70 horsepower generator. So that generator will put out enough power to both those motors that it can still run at 8 knots. So it'll run as long as you have electric. So I can run off the batteries like 6 hours, or I can run the generator and run indefinitely as long as I have fuel. And so it is going to be a pretty interesting boat from that. I mean, it's really, none of the really big production units are doing it. I think this is the way to go. I think it's going to be a really cool thing. So there you go. So that's it, guys. What do you think of my plan? What do you think about getting that monohull, kind of going back to my roots a little bit and sailing the 37-foot monohull? I'm excited about that. And then, of course, I do have to sell that. So if you're interested, hey, maybe we'll work a deal. At the end of the summer, you go sail around Greece for 90 days or something. And then do the same thing, pass it on to the next guy, try to get the same, and then tell me what you guys think about the new cat too. So I'm really excited about that. And like I said, there's a link down below if you're interested in the Island Spirit 525, it's 52 foot long. They, I believe, already have 15 orders. So 4 or 5, including mine, are already, the first 4 or 5 are sold to private owners. And then Navigar themselves, the charter company, has on order 10 boats. So and Navigar is going to be handling so Island Spirit handles the sales in Asia, and then Navigar handles it for Europe and the Americas. So there's a link down below. Again, please, if you do inquire with them about this boat, please say you saw that on Sailing Doodles. It helps me out. So I'm really excited about this. We have a lot of cool stuff coming up. Leave me a comment down below. What do you think? Am I crazy for doing this? Is it a great idea? I don't know. So yeah, I'm excited about it. Thanks guys for watching. Please click that like button, subscribe, and we're going to be on the water in the BVI. Next video, we're flying out in 2 days to go to the BVI. The day this video comes out, we are on an airplane to the BVI to go sailing on a Fountaine Pajot catamaran. So click that subscribe button to follow along when we go to the BVI.